Okay, so hopefully this is starting, everybody. Welcome to your fourth unit, which is named Community Involvement. Now, I hope you find that as funny as I find that, and not as super sad as I find that. So this is also my first time recording myself while going through a PowerPoint. So I apologize if there are any confusing parts. This is definitely my first time, but we are all learning together. So let me try to open up let me see, what did I want to share? Okay. There we go. I think we found it. Okay. Hopefully we found it. So we are starting our fourth unit today, which is amazing. That means that we are over halfway done with our semester. So we only have unit 4 and unit 5 to go, which is great. So our agenda for today is to go through the new unit, kind of do a little bit of an introduction, define our key terms like we usually do. We're going to do a few different speaking activities as well. I know that we are not in class and we're not conversing with each other at the moment. However, we can still practice our English by speaking. So what that means is either find yourself a quiet space where you don't feel awkward or embarrassed to speak out loud, or or find your phone and record yourself speaking so you can listen to it later. So you can always pause this video if you need to, and then re-record yourself, practice. But yeah, we're not going to try to feel silly. We're just going to try to take this seriously as we want, or it can be kind of silly if you want it to be as well. But I'll tell you when to start speaking. Then we're going to do some vowel and consonant sound practice, which I hope you find very amusing. So, as I said, the topic of this unit is community involvement. And usually I ask my students to go out into the community and participate in some sort of way. So students have gone to plays, they've gone to concerts, they've gone to farmers markets, they've gone to volunteer places. But since at this point, I'm not encouraging that, there's a new definition that we can use to talk about community event. So this could be something like watching a movie or a TV show in English. This could be listening to a podcast, of course, in English, watching a TED Talk or a few TED Talks in English, and or if you're into YouTube, watching a YouTube video or series. So again, that's kind of getting our listening. I would really encourage you to, if you watched a movie, for example, explain the movie to a friend in English or a family member. Jump on the phone, jump on Skype or Zoom, and definitely explain your experience with your listening. What did you learn? Why did you choose what you chose? Anyway, we'll get back to this later on when we talk about our project. But this is kind of what we're looking towards at the moment. So we're going to practice our listening and speaking, and we're going to develop our communities in a different way this time. So what I would like you to do is pause this video for about 5 minutes and just define the word community. You don't have to look it up. You don't have to write anything down. Just define the word community for yourself out loud, speaking in English, okay? So please pause the video at the moment and practice for about 5 minutes. Okay, so hopefully that you have come back after practicing for 5 minutes and you feel confident and great defining your version of community. So really what I've come up with in the past, based on my students' responses, is that community can really be a number of things, ranging from a group of 2 people or more, from face-to-face communities or online communities. A community could be something like your mosque or your church or your synagogue, or a community could be something like your video game community that you are really into, or your Facebook community. And even within Facebook, there are smaller groups that you can be involved in. Community could be your family. It could be where you grew up. Community could be bounded by things like language, culture, shared beliefs, interests, ideas, age, gender, anything. So community can be defined in a lot of different ways. Our second speaking activity, and I would like you to practice again for about 5 to 10 minutes, is doing a country comparison based on community. Now, I'd really like you to share to yourself out loud in English what your community back at home was like. Who was a part of your community? What did your community physically look like? In some areas, people look a certain way, they dress a certain way. Maybe your roads are different in your previous communities, maybe the schools are different. So, just anything that you can find out that paints me a picture. Imagine I'm sitting next to you, paints me a picture of what your community is like. Also, maybe you don't want to get into this, but what do you miss about your community? If you think that's going to cause you a little bit too much heartache, just skip that part. I'd also like you to analyze the community in the United States. So, who is a part of your community here? What does your community here physically look like? The people, the buildings, the roads, the schools. So, these questions are the same as for your home country. Also, what don't you understand about this community? I love this question. I love when students share this out. So please feel free to include this part in your voice journal for this unit. I think this is hilarious. Okay, it's so wonderful. So again, please take about 5 to 10 minutes, stop this video, and practice your speaking out loud, whether you want to record it or not. And I'm going to stay here for 5 to 10 minutes, but pause it and come back. Okay, so you just spent 5 to 10 minutes speaking about the country comparison. Thank you so much, and I'm excited to hear about this in your voice journal for this unit. So this is an important question. How have you been involved in your local community? Now, this can be a really tough question for some people because moving to a new place or just living in a new place for a long time can still be very difficult to get involved in your local community. So again, I would like you to take maybe 3 to 5 minutes and share out with yourself, how have you been involved in your local community? For example, I know that my previous students have been involved in music or going to the gym or through jobs, through their kids' schools. So there are some examples. So again, take 3 to 5 minutes and pause the video. Okay, thank you. Perfect. So I'm involved in my local community by going to a yoga studio that's down the block from me. I teach at 3 different schools and I used to volunteer. But nowadays I'm teaching and I'm staying at home. Okay, let's move on. So we're going to move into the pronunciation part of this lesson, and we're going to focus on vowel and consonant sounds, but particularly vowel sounds today. So we're going to go through a really, really cool next slide, and we're going to practice together. Okay, so usually in class, I have students record themselves doing these vowel noises, or at least I have them holding up their phone, turning on their camera, and just watching themselves make the vowel sounds. Okay, so I would love for you to do that if you're not currently on your phone. So you can see how your mouth makes these noises. And I'm going to make these noises for you guys right now. So we start up here on the top left corner. So we say a, ah. You see my teeth? A, ah. Perfect. And we have e, or e. And then I, or I. You see all of my teeth right there. And I'm not smiling, I'm not frowning, it's just kind of right across. Then for L can be a hard word or a hard sound to make. We'd put our tongue right behind our teeth, okay? Can you see that? La 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 la, la 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 la. And so the biggest mistake people make with L sounds is that they don't put their tongue on the roof of their mouth, they keep it down. So make sure when you say an L, like lollipop, lollipop, la la la, the L is behind your teeth. Then we have O. our mouth actually looks like an O. O. Then for these consonant sounds, our mouths look kind of the same. C, D, G, K, N, S, T, X, Y. Y is kind of funny. We go Y, Z, Z. And we can all say these words without having to close our mouth. Z, Z kind of is the hardest one. Now we have f, 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 and v, 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 f, f, fire, f, f, and v, 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 volume, volume, v. Okay. We have Q and W, so qua, qua, or wa, wa. And hopefully you can see the motion that my mouth is making. Wa, wa. We don't close our mouth for this. So my friends who have a problem with wa and va, you can see my mouth difference. Va, very, wa, wary. For B, M, and P, we have a kind of smile. Ba, ba, ma, ma, and pa, pa. E. That's kind of our long E that we have instead of eh. We have E. We have r, r. And so that's not the same as la, right? Ra, ra. Our tongue is not touching the roof of our mouth. Ra. This is different than t, t, t. So my friends who have difficulty with t and th, remember your tongue comes out with th. Don't be afraid. The, 30, 30, 3, the. Okay, we're almost done. We then have ch, 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 and sh, 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 and j, j, j. Okay, so that's kind of like a dance, right? Sh, sh, ch, 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 j, j. So air goes out, we have our teeth almost together. Ch, ch. And finally, you, or ooh, ooh. But my difference between O and ooh is that O, I cannot see my tongue, or sorry, I cannot see my teeth. Oh, oh. And then ooh, ooh, you can see my teeth. Okay? So I'd like you guys to spend at least 5 minutes practicing these, if not 10. Okay? Record yourself, or at least have a mirror in front of you so you can see your face. So I'm going to give you about 5 to 10 minutes to do this. Pause this video and check back in with me when you're ready. Okay, so you just practiced for 5 to 10 minutes looking at all of these noises, practicing all of these noises, which I'm sure and I hope you had a great time doing. They're so fun. So now we're looking at something, and it's cut off here actually, so I'll send you another one. But this is called a phonemic chart. And there are tons of phonemic charts online that are actually interactive, so you can click on something and hear the noise. Because we just went over all of these sounds, but we didn't go over the sounds of when certain vowels are put together. Like for example, this crazy looking item here, it's oi, oi, like boy, oil, point. So this oi is actually its own sound. And so for homework, or not homework, for practice, I'm going to ask you to go through this. Okay, so I know this says homework here, but really I just mean practice, since we're not really doing homework, we're just doing activities. So what I would like you guys to start doing is practicing exploring minimal pairs and phonemic charts. So actually we didn't go over minimal pairs, but let's add something here. Let's add a little slide so we feel comfortable doing this. Minimal pairs are when sounds are alike, but not exactly the same. So for example, B versus V, T versus TH, V versus W, S versus sh. Okay, so these are just some examples. There are so many minimal pairs in the world. So it's really important you just jump online and start exploring. I'll have some links for you. But think about the feedback that I've given you in your voice journals, and that can help guide you a lot. So yeah, so for practice, I want you to start exploring minimal pairs in the phonemic chart, watching this video, exploring these 2 websites, okay? So get going, practice, practice. But remember, you're not trying to spend hours and hours doing this unless you have time to do so. Just treat each lesson just like you would a lesson in class, and hopefully this works out well, right, you guys? I had so much fun doing this. I'm so glad that we live in an age where technology makes this useful for us and we can communicate this way. So anyway, hope this worked and hope this wasn't too crazy. I think that I did pretty well for my first time doing this. Hopefully you do too. All right, you guys. I'll talk soon and I'll send you a PowerPoint for Thursday or for next class. Okay.